Alrighty, hello every folks. Good afternoon. Welcome to the streamy Tabadili here. Xeno 2 finally launched after, what is it, like 10 years in development at this point? Yeah, it's kind of crazy to think how long this thing's been around. Apparently, now, I'm assuming the numbers I read were wrong, because I saw somebody post a thing earlier today saying that it was like 2016 when it was originally like in its conceptual phase. I gotta look that up real quick. We're gonna immediately just start this off by Googling, apparently. Because I'm assuming they mixed it up with Xenonauts 1 or something. But anyways, today is finally release day. So basically they have everything that they were originally planning to in there, and they're just kind of adding additional stuff from there. Holy crap, it seriously was 2016. Yeah, original Xenonauts apparently launched out of early access June 17th, 2014. Holy crap, that's been a while. You can feel the old, just all the gray hairs immediately popping in. Anyway, let's see if the chat Tapadili here exists, and then we can go ahead and proceed on with that whole, doing stuff thing. All right, there we go. Of course, gotta get some ads going before I can check. Get out of here, ads. Stop providing me with a tiny bit of revenue. All right. Okay, it's apparently going to do that thing where it just takes forever to load. So, okay. So, Xenonauts 2. I guess first, most obvious question out of the way, do you need to have played the first one? No. This is kind of like a soft reboot of sorts. In a way, it's kind of it's sort of an intentional retcon of the first Xenonauts, because the first Xeno ended in what was basically, I guess, spoilers if you care about plot, in an XCOM-like here, but the original Xenonauts basically ended in a forever stalemate, more or less, where if you end up beating the thing, you more or less turn the Earth invisible to the invasion, but you don't make it go away. That's not actually a setup for Xenonauts 2, it's actually just kind of how that one ended, and it technically solves the problem. In this one, effectively, the Greenland incident, the thing that starts it all, as I understand it, doesn't go public or something along those lines, meaning that there's never... Well, there is a Xenonauts, but it's named something else, and we'll probably get to those particular spoilers pretty early on here, because that's the first third of the game, more or less, as far as figuring out what happened to the original Xenonauts and what you're doing there. Anyways, so we're going to go ahead and get this thing started here, if this chat thing ever wants to load. There we go. Hi there, Jama. How's it going? Hope you're having a fine afternoon. And yeah, I got some coffee. We're going to go ahead and start this thing. And yeah, if anybody wants to be a dude, we'll go ahead and, throw those names on there. So let's go ahead and get this shindig started. So I have been basically on this project, like, trying to advertise for it anyway, whatever, since... pretty much since the very first demos and stuff were coming out. That's why it seems like it's been so crazy long thinking back on it, because, like... I remember when, I guess technically not since the first launch. I remember the first demos coming out, so I guess that would have been, the development would have started a good bit earlier then. But I remember having just finished up the first Xenonauts and, well, ended up seeing demos and seeing the option to go back Xeno 2 and stuff like that popping up. And yeah, the first demos were a bit rough, but I do love that they started with the grenade launcher and almost built the game around it. Anyways. We're going to go ahead and start a campaign and just talk about the very many improvements they made on this thing as we carry along. Just going to go with whatever they have as recommended for veteran difficulty. So an unforgiving difficulty set for experienced players, not advisable for your first campaign unless you played a lot of Xeno 1. That is a very yes. We're going to go ahead and Iron Man this thing. I do love that they threw this in here, by the way. So one of the great things that they always love to see on a good, just any strategy game whatsoever, is when... Okay, I say that, and immediately I'm expecting the comment coming out of, like, yeah, there's... The guy talking about Mitsuno games all the time is going to talk about how they explained all the mechanics. Okay, Mitsuno's the exception, okay? We give him a pass for this, because I assume he's just writing his scripts out of a nut house or something. But when it comes to stuff like this, anything with a more directly strategic element or what have you, I love when they explain all the nitty-gritty bullshit. So we have extended mode that basically tweaks around things that allows you to basically double the length of the game by changing around the UFO delegation system and making it so you have to go after more UFOs, but you essentially have to go after more of them to actually achieve your funding goals. One of the big things about Xenonauts is that there's a much bigger focus on funding and spreadsheets than there is in something like XCOM. So anyways, so veteran difficulty in this case, and again, we're just doing standard Iron Man mode. We're going to leave the tutorial on for once. I do have exactly, 2 complaints about the tutorial. I do recommend that people run the tutorial once, but for any future runs that we talk about this, we'll be turning that off. Thankfully, it's not too long, but... starting funds, 3 million, monthly funding is only at 90%, daily operation points 8, starting infiltrators 8, project durations are at their normal, enemy quantities are increased, accuracy, they get a 10% bonus, base 10% soldier survival chance, mission timers get -1 turn, and UFOs do 125% damage. We do have the option for showing enemy health. I'm going to leave that off for now, since again, we're just kind of leaving the standard. You can do any of these as custom. Armor destroyed on death, free attack rotations. I believe that's on the standard difficulty, you get free attack rotations. So if somebody catches you and you see them off in the periphery, that you get a free pivot to go take a shot, but if you're playing on anything higher, then no, you gotta play this by classic rules. All right, let's see. Even if he explains something, there would be probably double of how somehow interacts with it. Sorry, I read that completely wrong. Sorry, it has been a day. And actually, on that note, apologies for starting this a bit late, / also starting it earlier than I said that I would in the adjusted message for the thing. It's apparently just going to be one of those days. It's been again, like a day, and it's been quite a day. Anyway, so let's see. Even if he explains something, there would be probably double of what somehow also interacts with it. Yeah, that's the thing. When Tactics Ogre Reborn came out, and I guess technically this applied to the PSP version too, it's they went way too in-depth on the stuff nobody uses. They have an entire page dedicated to hey, did you know that you can prop an octopus next to a tile and climb up on top of it and use it as a ladder? Yeah, that's cool as hell. Now, what do the debuffs do? It's nothing but crickets. You look over the debuff section, stun exists. Woohoo! Anyway, so let's go ahead and continue on here. We'll just let the intro play real quick.
2009. The world teeters on the brink of nuclear war.
Let me know if you can hear the audio, by the way.
Communist nations are at boiling point. Every opportunity for peace has failed, as if an invisible hand inexorably steers humanity towards annihilation.
We have that in real life too, except it's far from invisible, unfortunately.
Our politics are not human in origin, and we must protect our planet.
Still probably not human in origin.
Terrestrial threat, however we can. After years spent gathering information on an enemy that few believe exists, we are finally ready to strike back. The war for our future begins now.
Okie dokie. I don't know if any of that voiceover carried through. The little meter thing says it's fine on my end, but I don't know what everybody else is hearing, so do let me know, please. Alright. But yeah, basically the gist is there. You are, functionally speaking, just living the X-Files life, more or less. But, in something more similar to something like the XCOM files or something like that, you actually start off a bit earlier than you would in your typical XCOM type of experience there. You start off with only one jet, one transport, far fewer rooms. You definitely have a lot less room for expansion than you do in Xeno 1, considering in 1, it was hey, you're in month 3, you better have 3 bases ready to go. And hope you haven't lost anybody if you're playing on Insanity, because guess what? They all just got deleted, and you can barely afford to feed everybody. So, anyway. Alright, this is probably my only direct complaint with the tutorial. I understand why it's there. I felt like such a moron every time I was going and looking through this particular tutorial, but they have a system in which if you go and you mouse over something for a second, it'll pop up an additional, tooltip window, which, okay, very cool feature. I know I'm not the only one that got frustrated by this. Let's see, could barely hear it, but subtitles too, so I can at least read. Okay, let me turn that up real quick, and then we'll see how that looks, because I have it at 30%, I think. Let me know if that's too loud. I will say, for context, why I have it so low, every time that I did Xeno 1 stuff before, it had, the it's kind of got the Steven Seagal effect going on, where it's just like really low lows, really high highs. So I have the effects turned down for the inevitable explosions blowing out everyone's eardrums, so that's down a good bit. And yeah, mostly it's going to be music, and that's pretty much the only voiceover as far as I'm aware. Anyway. So, yeah, as it says at the start here, just a little conversation between your scientists and your director here. And yeah, the general, that's supposed to be you from the first game, is supposed to be taking over. So they have you go through the motions of sending somebody out. So, the UFOs are supposed to just start showing up, so it teaches you how to do time and everything else. You go over here, some time goes forward, crop circles appear, and then all of a sudden there is the UFOs, and then you launch the interceptors. Except they start with 2, as if, they're doing the standard experience there. And then they let you get one of your jets shot down, which is just such poor play. Anyway, yeah, we hit... Yes. So they don't know how these missiles are going to go. This is the reason that I'm allowing this tutorial to play, by the way. This moment is surprisingly important. So, as far as your deploy screen for aircraft, you actually have that in this one as opposed to the first. So this one's going to go ahead and go over here. This one's going to go over this way. They're going to get all throttled up and proceed down that way. Going to go ahead and use spacebar instead. So that is surprisingly important right there, because unlike the first one, the UFOs in this case are actually immune to missile guidance, which is very different. So yeah, the thing with the first one, which by the way, we're going to go ahead and do one of these here real quick. Yes, we already did that. That's so annoying that they have you do that, by the way. I tried to tell it to go outside of gun range, and it's like, no, you will let your jet get shot down here. I know these are tutorial jets, but it still just feels wrong, okay? Anyway, so yeah, his missile does hit because he's just kind of firing them off randomly. They do have, or manually rather, they do have some degree of ability to fire, but I do like that there's that kind of skill element to it. So that's kind of neat. So we'll go ahead and accept results, and then we'll do this one where they launch the team, but they won't. Instead, it's a little tutorial to explain what all of your basic stuff does. They say to hold the launch because the general is back, and he is back to be a traitor and stuff. There's a convoy of trucks heading our way. Those appear to be cleaners, the exact things that we're fighting. It would seem highly improbable the general would ever voluntarily join forces. And so, yeah. So they instead send the people you're about to go send on a mission to a tunnel, and you don't get these people. They actually, technically, have an event in which some of them can join you later. But yeah, they're just kind of here to defend the base, more or less. Anyway, how's audio now? If anybody would be willing to share this information, would be quite helpful. But yeah, there's, like, if you're somebody that played Xeno 1, the improvements on this one are just like across the board. It's one of these cases where it genuinely feels like this is what they wanted to do the whole time, and then just like, the technology budget, whatever else, just wasn't there the first time. So pretty much it's like an improvement in basically every category. But okay, so camera controls, rotate Z camera. Okay, we do the WASD. We have successfully WASDed. Do some Q&Es, everybody gets nauseous, fantastic. Raise the camera level, whoop-de-doo. I might have run this a few times just to see if it crashed. Anyway, so they have time units. Everybody loves their time units. Okay. So yeah, Xenonaut project has been terminated. Lay down your weapons. There's no need for this to turn ugly. Says you from the previous game. The interesting thing is, like, yeah, they basically start this off with a bad ending of Enemy Unknown, which is pretty great. Alright, let's see. Seems fine to me now? Alrighty, fantastic. Yeah, I really like the music in this. It's got some great mood. Let's see, if we surrender, what's the possibility we turn up dead a week from now, based on everything we know about 100%? Exactly. So yeah. There's a backup facility, though. Conveniently, they had a second fighter jet base and second just kind of army ready to go because, just kind of X-Files shit going on. That's what we're doing around here. Yeah, everything's all clandestine and stuff. So they teach you how to aim. In fact, actually, let me adjust something because visually something is. Yeah, we're just gonna bump this down to shadows. There we go. It's probably the shadows. Maybe it's the VSync. I don't know. There we go. We'll do that. Yeah, there. Is it the AA? Something is being funky. It set a lot of things to default. Here, let me adjust a few things because yeah, I'm getting a little bit of stutter. I'm gonna turn the multi-sampling down maybe. All right, let's hope that does it, and we'll keep on. Okay. Yeah, that looks a little bit cleaner. Okie doke. So they're gonna go ahead and crouch. Go ahead and end their turn there. All right. Everybody else gets into position. You will never do that kind of movement again. But they do deploy a bunch of people. I do like that they actually did. They do make use of this right here. So where you have like enemy swarms like swarming in and stuff like that. It's the same kind of stuff that we saw in XCOM 2. And personally, I prefer this to XCOM 2 in many ways. And yeah, it's just kind of neat that they kind of use that for reinforcements all the time because there's a lot more fighting going on in this one than there was in the first Xeno. All right, spacebar there. This guy's gonna do that. So they teach you about suboptimal range and such. Fine, I guess we'll go ahead and do that. Oh no, they missed a 36% shot. Realistically speaking, that's actually not a bad action to take, but all right. I mean, I guess their cover kind of sucks. Probably would have moved him back here to go take the shot, but still. Like, assuming that they can actually get there. They do have some features that they threw into this one that we're not going to see as of just yet, so we're going to see that in just a second. Here. Go, but we're not allowed to crouch her because she's supposed to do stuff later. Although this is a cool part of the tutorial that I do like. So they have that one. They're like, okay, there's cover in the way. Go ahead and shotgun away this by using this. What's hilarious, though, is like, for this one, you would normally probably want to go for a cheap shot. Instead, he's like, no, I need to do my full aimed shot at that box. Like, I guess to each their own. Personally, would have gone for the cheap shot, crouch, take another cheap shot, and or just kind of leave him in Overwatch or something, but whatever. It's fine. Everyone's got their own ways of doing things. Same thing with this guy. Personally, I would aim for it right here. Yeah, there's a chance it'll dud on the box. It would still get two of them, but they want it right here to hit these two instead. I'm complaining about nothing right now, but yes. Anyway. Also, this, I love that they have this moment in the tutorial because this absolutely happens surprisingly all the time. They're like, oh, take your 26% shot with your pistol as they just go full John Wick on everybody. That happens a lot, surprisingly. Anyway, yeah, this guy's going to go over here. Then we're supposed to use the shifty thing, and then you can see from there. So you go here, you hit shift, and then you can have them go take the shot. Nifty, nifty. Again, you know, go ahead and say the line as far as, oh, you know, XCOM 2 did it, but still, you know, it's good. They made a lot of fantastic changes to this one, and I really enjoy it. Alright, more coffee. Alright, so at this point, they have you get this guy killed for no reason. Because, you know, instead of just wiping these guys, we're just going to have him run into Overwatch fire. Sure, why not? And yeah, so they're gonna flashbang. This one is a solid plan here. Seems a little bit risky. I personally probably would have preferred taking that guy there, take that one out there, go for, you know, a throw and a suppress, or even just two throws with that guy. And so they're gonna go for a bit of a smoky, sneaky approach over here. You could aim here, but they want you to aim here, I assume, because they want you to see that you're gonna do stun damage to your own guy by having him be in smoke, but whatever. Go, and then move him backwards. Sure. And there we go. That's the tutorial. Then they escape, and then you start your proper thing after that. All right. So now we get to actually make a proper base and everything. I figure there's really only one location that it realistically needs to go into in this case. Like, yeah, sure, you could put them anywhere for strategic reasons, but I figure one of the big annoying points of the first game is that they made it a point that the Soviets 100% totally will betray you, and I'd be shocked if they didn't do the same thing here. So, of course, you know, it better to go to the experts on dealing with that particular problem and probably put the base in Eastern Europe. Anyway, Let's go ahead and continue on here. Alrighty, and as I said before, if anybody wants to be made into a dude, do let me know. I was just gonna make a bunch of like random meme builds for the first batch of characters, so do let me know. So, few believe our enemies exist, yet the malign tendrils of their influence can be felt across the planet. Rising tensions between the capitalist and communist nations threatens to spark a ruinous nuclear war before the invasion even begins. You know, before the Russians totally betray us yet again. Welcome to the backup facility. Okay. See, no getting around the fact that we're living in a derelict nuclear bunker full of 60s era junk. Hope you're fine with cold showers, cold food, and cold everything. Nifty, nifty. The temperature is the least of our concerns. My work suggests we have mere months before they can launch a full-scale invasion. If we're to prepare, have to gather enough data to finish scouting the planet there, and of course, the cleaners are unlikely to make it easy. So, we'll go ahead and just kind of speed through the rest of this. This one's, yeah, with this one, with this one, essentially you have several different, very distinct phases. You had phases before, when it came to Xenonauts and whatnot. In this one, they actually have different mechanics for every phase as well. So, like, instead of having one just like escalating phase, you start off in a sort of XCOM 2 like phase where you have a sort of a panic thing going up. Here we go. We'll just go ahead and put you on my home. Anyone got a fun name for the base? Gonna leave that up for a second if anybody comes up with something interesting. Good coffee. Probably should have made more, to be honest. Otherwise, we're just gonna call it New Valeria, but do let me know. And we'll finish off that countdown in like, I don't know, 3 seconds here. Yeah, so to explain the different phases. So phase 1 of this thing is the Doomsday Counter, where effectively everything's on the brink of panic, and as soon as you end up getting to 100%, it's just full-blown World War III and whatever else, everything's over, nobody can coordinate, and the invasion happens in the middle of all of that chaos. So the first phase is just dealing with everybody's panic. During that time, you're building up supporters in certain nations, and then you're building up kind of different assets around different places. So objective, prevent Doomsday Counter exceeding 100%. Aliens are attempting to spark a nuclear war by raising tensions between capitalist communist nations. If they succeed, the scattered human survivors would have no hope of repelling an invasion. Have to keep the Doomsday Counter until under control until the invasion begins. Allowing to exceed 100 for more than 1 day will result in a victory. Successful enemy activity on the geoscape will increase Doomsday. So you start off at 40%. And effectively the idea is, you just kind of have to keep everyone's panic down. At this point, there's only one mission that's going to be coming up. We can't really do too much as of yet, but we've got our standard medical center. We're going to go ahead and get a get a proper medical center. So it's a plus 20% survival chance upgrade for anybody that goes down for having one of these in place. Also get a second radar. Well, we would get a second radar, but you can't do power. You could do that in some earlier builds, but okay. Go ahead and get more generators going. Rock them things over there. I'm going to pick up a storeroom early because they're relatively cheap, and this is... Just pop that sucker over there. Like, when it comes to storerooms, you never need it until you suddenly need it. So we're going to put that over there, and then don't have enough for another training center. That'll be useful later. Training centers are basically just like a passive trickle of XP for all of your people. Your first base is a base raid, interestingly enough. Anyway, so first report that comes in, the Cleaners. Although the unknown extraterrestrial forces scouting the planet remain the ultimate threat to humanity, their work has been assisted by a mysterious human organization known informally as the Cleaners. I know little about the Cleaners beyond the fact that they invariably appear within a few hours of suspected alien activity, forcibly taking any eyewitnesses into custody and erasing all evidence that might hint at an extraterrestrial presence. Important missions are always handled by teams of Cleaner soldiers carrying military rifles and wearing distinctive green hazmat suits and rebreathers that entirely conceal conceal their identities. More mundane work is usually handled by suited agents with similar equipment to law enforcement. Anyone that develops an interest in the cleaners tends to disappear without a trace. We previously avoided probing too deeply into their organization for this. In turn, the cleaners largely left us alone. One suspects Operation Division's monomaniacal focus on operational security made monitoring our activities far too difficult to be worthwhile. Obviously, this equation has now changed. The cleaners are clearly devoting significant resources to eliminating us, and we must be prepared to fight them directly if we wish to learn more about our enemies. Hope you and your men are equal to the task. But yeah, long story short, you start off fighting dudes. So that's what we're doing. Alright, which, yeah, that's going to be the first base, because you have to take back your original base in order to do this whole thing. So, go ahead and set this up. So, they changed the order in which you launch stuff in this one, so you actually go into your deploy screen after you select to launch, and you can go and redo everybody's equipment and whatnot. Standard stuff for this one will be fine. I think whoever survives this... You know what, actually, we'll just go ahead and get started with the interesting builds right away. So first of all, Mr. Pablo's from Spain over here. You are instead... Here. I'm trying to pull out the thing that I normally use for for my keyboard, but I ended up moving it, and I'm just like, my keyboard's just not there anymore. Anyway. Go ahead and get this guy in here. Obviously, our first starter unit has to be here with a short sword and shield. He can cast grenade. Yeah, we'll go ahead and give him an accuracy boost, give him a rebreather to make him immune to poison. We can't give him a anti-stun necklace. Actually, that is liable to 100% get him killed. We'll do that, and then we'll give him... let's give him a couple stun grenades. Interestingly enough, they actually changed some of the mechanics in this one so that stun grenades do actually boost the accuracy of your melee weapons. Okay. Second one here, and yeah, again, if anybody has anybody they want to see made into a character, do let me know. We'll get the obvious ones out of the way. Ah, that's a spoiler. There we go. We'll do that, and then... Let's see. Can we replace a staff with a shotgun? I think so. I think that counts. She gets to go there. Let's go ahead and... Yeah, give you one accuracy thing. We'll go ahead... Probably give you some smoke. Just always blowing smoke over everybody's butt there. So there we go. Got that one. Let's see. So you actually get a pretty big benefit for capturing in this one. Like, a lot of benefit for capturing in this one. So we're actually gonna... Go ahead and do one of these. Load you up entirely with smoke. Get rid of this, get rid of this. Have you run light armor for this reason. Get rid of your baton to get even more smoke. Actually, this is probably complete overkill because there's like 10 dudes in this first base, so that's pretty much entirely unnecessary. And then probably one pistol. Can sacrifice one load of smoke grenades for that. So we got our Smokey over there. Also, double check that this chat is working properly, because it's giving me a weird loading circle. There we go. Alright. Got one rifleman. Maybe we do want to go with a second shield here. This guy's not particularly strong, though. Medic, we'll get rid of this, we'll get rid of this. I'll get you a flashbang. In fact, replace most of their grenades with flashbangs. In fact, is there... You'll do. I was gonna say, there's one that we absolutely have to do here. Sure, it wasn't the only one that was playing through the remakes lately. Gotta give at least one character the standard Resident Evil loadout. So, yeah, there we go. Whatever. We'll let him have the... Actually, no. He doesn't get the armor. He just gets more grenades. Get this. Get a couple of these. Get a couple of these. He doesn't get any smoke grenades. Give him the... No, he doesn't get the shotgun. Okay, we'll give him some of these and a med kit. There we go. It's close enough. It counts. Alright. Also, wow, I don't know what the hell I have these ads set on, but that is... obnoxious. Sorry about that. Okay. Let's see. I don't think the knife has a durability. I think there was some point at which they had ammo on melee weapons like they did in the first game, but that has not carried over. I'm gonna give him one of these right here. There we go. Let's see. Apparently we've got a Swedish Leon Kennedy over here, and then leave the rifles as they are, leave the sniper as they are, and just go ahead and launch this thing. So, the reason that you want to do a lot of captures on this first one is because of operation points. So after you do the first mission to reclaim the base there, you basically get a bunch of good promotions for your first units there. And then depending on how you handle it, you get different amounts of points. So your initial researches start at that point, your initial like engineering stuff starts at that point. But if you end up capturing the leader of the base, you end up starting off with 100 points, which is a decent starting point, to say the least. Because so in this one, unlike the first Xeno, you basically have a ongoing currency of what's basically influence that you use to essentially affect things all over the place, whether it's getting allies, eliminating enemies, that sort of thing. So, like, you know, say they have a propagandist that's going and spreading lies or something and causing panic, you can have that guy removed, or you can get somebody else on your side that, let's say, gives you discounts on stuff or whatever else. It's a lot of the kinds of sort of perk type deals that you'd get kind of in whatever you'd expect of this genre here. But in this particular case, you kind of pick and choose what you'd like. Alright, so I think we'll have all of the named characters over here. Take this door. Have one of the riflemen go this way. This can go a few different ways. I don't believe this mission is particularly set. But this plays anything out. It plays out anything like it did last time. We're going to go for something like this here. You'll need to be facing there because we don't get free turning orders. Also, I don't know if they actually ended up patching the door thing. They had mentioned at some point, this is not recent by any means, but there's a thing that the AI cannot pass through doors if you block all entrances. Especially, this is like especially useful in bases because they would open a door. They would try to go through the door because essentially what the AI is doing is it's just targeting a tile over here to run into. But then, yeah, supposedly that was supposed to be removed. Now, I don't know if they decided not to do that or whatever else, but either way. So, go ahead and flashbang that guy, check around the corner because he's holding a pistol. Yeah, room's otherwise clear. Go ahead and take a crouch. You. And go ahead and just pop this guy. Because we only need one of these. Alright. This first room dealt with, and you can go here. Probably won't be very much in a lot of these rooms. Oh, okay, the base is randomized. Good to know. Yeah, this is... So, early on, they had a lot of things that were kind of set in stone. Anyways, we're just gonna go full blitz mode on this one here. Their odds to hit aren't great, and especially the SMGs that they use for the early game there are not particularly good. Like, they can hurt you for sure. You know, as seen there by that guy absolutely eating shit there, but still. That should be fine, because he's probably going to take some shots, because he's crouching. That should bounce off of these. You know, he goes after this one. Normally that's going to go a little bit better, but it is what it is. Alright. Get one of these right here. That went great. Crouch right there. This guy's probably going to take a few relatively ineffective shots. That's probably going to be okay. Okay. Perfect. You just duck around the corner here. Okay. It's one room decent, the rest, kind of iffy. Fortunately, there's no knife Overwatch yet. At least I don't think there is. Actually, don't know how that guy got a shot off because he shouldn't. Oh, right. He had like 13 points left over. That actually should have been enough. Okay. Got one unit bleeding. That's this one. Yeah, this one dude. Yet apparently the scariest dude in their entire outfit over here. Alright. The reason I'm taking a few burst shots there. Actually, just go ahead and take 3 of them. Yep. Because hopefully we can just kind of... I was hoping to damage him a little bit and then maybe finish him off with stun damage or something. Could do with a faster knife swinging animation, but it is what it is. Also, I don't know why they swing instead of stab. Well, actually, I do know why they swing instead of stab. Because it's supposed to use the same animation as the stun baton, so the knife looks a little goofy. I kind of wish it would stab, but whatever. Alright. Yo, Pavel got his first knife kill. Good for him, I suppose. We'll have you run around the back here, so that hopefully they can just beat the hell out of this guy. And you, sir, are gonna go this way. In fact, actually, I think that might be a fun challenge run for this down the road. Like, remake everybody as just various RE characters, and just see how they do. Okay. So, that one's decent odds to hit. What I need here, you to cherry tap this guy down. That doesn't count, but whatever. That room's clear. Just gonna take a peek around this corner. Yeah, you're gonna swing around this way. Of course, he's not gonna have enough points to do much else. Okay. And yeah, she's gonna go ahead and probably... You know what? Before I forget... Yeah, let's, Again, I need to unload her thing here. I forget how you do that. With shift? Oh, there we go. Okay. So apparently it was control. So, yeah, we got that done. She doesn't have enough to reload, but I want to load it with smokes. That's why that one exploded when it shouldn't have. Alright. And yeah, that's probably one of the biggest changes that they made in this one, that smoke essentially functions as kind of like a baby version of the gas grenade from the first Xeno. And flashbangs work as guaranteed suppression instead of attacking kind of morale damage, as it were. There we go. There's one guy captured. We realistically only need one of the agents, one of the hazmat suit guys, and then the general. There probably won't be hazmat suit guys in this one, but I don't know. Something might have changed, it might not have. I have absolutely no clue on that. Okay. I'm thinking what to do here exactly. The guy at the end of the hallway. Don't think he's spotted us yet, though. So, supposedly, and I don't know if I'm misremembering this right or not, but supposedly, when it comes to whether or not they know where you are, it's supposed to pay more attention to kind of the facts of the matter on that one. So if they're not supposed to know where you are, they don't know where you are. So you should be able to sneak up on stuff in the current build, if I'm remembering that right. You're there. Kind of going back and forth as to whether or not to rush this guy for the door, because In theory, that's a good idea. I don't think he's got heavy, though. I think we'll just do something like this. Maybe I also kind of just want to use this to scout to see if the door will remain open. Okay, so the door does seem to be staying open. Well, actually, the other doors haven't closed yet, so... Alright, well, he turned around anyway. Tooltips there, just kind of explaining how doors work. So it's 4 TUs to open a door, bleeding wounds. When one of your units gets a bleeding wound, they'll suffer 5 HP of damage for each wound that they have. It's actually part of the reason that you would use a knife. Like, if you're wondering why you would use a knife instead of a stun baton, it's like if you, let's say, can cut something and run, potentially one cut with a knife, I think it's guaranteed to inflict bleed, in which case you potentially could just completely bleed something out. Okay. Load that thing with smoke. Only did 3. The cool thing about smoke is that they can't really do anything past that point. Like, if we make this entire hallway full of smoke, he's going to take stun damage for every turn that he walks around in this, every turn that he waits in it. And additionally, it should be possible to flash from here. We ended up getting a pretty good layout on this. Go 90% to flashbang. Perfect. So he's suppressed, stuck in the smoke, can't really move very far. We're in good position. You go over here. At this door a little bit. And yeah, this guy is properly holding open the door. So door holding is a mechanic in this one, apparently. Right, you move there. He's gonna breach the door next. Hopefully this situation is dealt with, and then we can deal with this guy. Okay. There is a thing that I'm forgetting to utilize here, which is that you can skip the whole thing that it's trying to do there about double checking whether you want to end your turn or not. Oh, you dick. Alright. Well, probably should have been a bit more aggressive on that one, but we'll deal with that problem immediately. Go, so he's gone. We're out 1. It feels like I always end up losing 1 unit on this one. Well, clear room is clear, I guess, and I guess that saves the medkit use for the next round. The plan was for them to all meet up right here and get the medkit going, but... oh well, I guess that's not happening anymore. Go ahead and smoke grenade this guy. Or do that, that works too. Kind of completely whiffed it, but... right? Okay. Kind of go here. What's your loadout situation looking like? 2 grenades and medkit. Alright. Do that. Keep forgetting the one guy in the radar room over here. Oh, whoops. Okay, well, so much for capturing that guy. I think they mentioned that in one of the builds that there was going to be a reward for capturing as many of those as you can, because they're technically not like full-blown enemies and what have you. But that also might just be me misremembering stuff. Right. Have her put away the apparently very dangerous shoddy. Get her stun baton out. Is gonna go here. Our grenadier kind of going this way about. Currently 2 more loaded in there. Yeah, basic plan is just to completely smoke out the command room. I didn't bring an HMG guy. That's another way to make that a decent bit easier. You can just kind of suppress the entire room. But, next time. It'll work for next time. But as you see right there, they take a pretty decent whack every time that they're taking stun damage. These guys have like 40 to 60 health-ish, so they can lose quite a bit. As you can see, the little yellow bar over here is going to be their stun meter. So if they take all of their stun, they are, you know, unconscious and whatnot. Okay. So, what we're gonna do, go over here. Gonna go right here. They're not really gonna have anything terribly heavy in their arsenal at this point. Just kind of random security dudes with SMGs. So that is your advantage in the early game, because they're more or less just running very budget equipment. They don't take a whole lot of turn units to fire, but they are... So they're quick, but they're not particularly lethal, is the best way to put it. Alright, we got all these, we got all you. Yeah, one of your units has suffered stun damage, usually from smoke inhalation. This is shown by yellow numbers appearing above their head, and total stun damage is represented by a small yellow bar along the bottom of the HP bar. If accumulated stun damage exceeds current hit points, they will fall unconscious. So yeah, you can, for example, do what I was talking about earlier, of like you go into a room, you spray everything down, they take, you know, some damage here and there, and then you leave them in a cloud of smoke, and then they fall unconscious. Okay, so he is going to open the door. Looks like we've got one guard and that guy. This is you. I recognize you, all of you. Why don't I remember anything about you? Doesn't matter, you don't get it interfere. Okay, nifty. So, good news, interference does not include knife. So, he said interfering, not knifing. Also, apparently real crack shot with that pistol. And we know that there's another guy now, so that's good to know. And most of this shield is gone, so that's also good to know. Okay, for the time being, you, sir, get suppressed. I want this door getting held open. So go here. We're gonna go ahead and grenadify that. Yep. Start taking some stun here. Yeah, Mr. Pistolier over here, go deal with this dude. Perfect. Living up to his namesake here, except for that last part, but that's fine. Okay. Have you take at least a just kind of random pot shot over this way, see if you can deal with that guy. Perfect. Okay. And from there, we just need her with her stick. There, crouches down, and that should be thing more or less dealt with. Shield guy is not in the best shape, though. Don't really have the points to fix him up, so hopefully he'll be fine. Okay. So you're just going to take one whack and then probably run away. Yeah, that was a pretty decent one. Perfect. Well, it's not 100% clean, but that's decent enough. Okay, so with that guy dealt with, now you get access to most of your mechanics. So, or at least most of your earlier mechanics. So, while later on, once the kind of invasion proper starts, you have a lot more funding, you have a lot more tools to play with. This is kind of the build-up phase for right now. So you're mostly collecting information, you're trying to get as much research as possible before, you know, the plot bomb hits. And yeah, once everything kicks off and you get into full invasion mode, that's when you start expanding to get more jets, you start expanding to try and get better equipment and whatever else. This is like all the spy phase, and I like the build-up phase. I like that it's kind of all separated out like that. It just feels nice, you know. Okay. So unfortunately, lost 2. That's a bit of a bummer, but whatever. Okay. So, got 1 captured agent, 1 captured general, and all their SMGs. Nifty, nifty. Okay. Operation points. So, strategic operations and supported recruitment are now available. The instruction of the Atlas Base command room allows operations... Operations Division to deploy covert agents to assist with objectives. Current organization receives +8 operation points per day, which can be spent on conducting various kinds of strategic operations for instant benefits or on recruiting supporters to unlock permanent bonuses. Operation points can be spent to eliminate infiltrators, which will reduce the Doomsday counter progress here. And yeah, these will do different things as stuff goes on. So you can spend 100 points to get yourself more money. You can reduce tension in an area by spending 100 points. You can get recruits for some of those points, or you can just construct a new base using some of your influence. In this particular case, actually, come to think of it, that's an interesting option. I didn't even see this here before, because then, yeah, you could go for your dual base setup early. The thing is, though, that's interesting. This basically means that, yeah, you can start off the game with 2 bases. Come to think, let's here, hold up. What's the budget for this place looking like? So I love the Angel jets, by the way. So one of the things that this one changed is that you have modular jets. So whereas the first one, it was basically all just like guns and missiles. You got different types of platings, fuel pods, stuff like that. So we're going to go ahead and just get additional fuel for the early game here. Since you really only need one, and for the most part you can just dodge everything. If you get additional, I believe the heavier armor later, like once you hit, I don't know if it's once you hit a certain thresholds or if it's using certain types of missiles or something, but after a certain point, that's when you potentially start losing the ability to do evasive rolls. But anyways, what is our dang budget? Where the hell is the budget screen? Also, wow, they apparently have an entire box just full of random, like, candies or something. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I just like just looking at the random just art in the background of these games. Yeah, what is our budget here? Oh, is this blocking it? Is that why I can't see it? Right. Is there even a base budget in this one? Time. What can we gain? I don't see a budget cut. Is that just kind of all accounted for in this one? I never actually realized that. In that case, second base is... You know what? I think we're going to do that. Huh. We'll need to construct additional bases and extend radar coverage if we're to successfully defend the planet. Once we have identified a location, Operations Division will need to secure the site and establish local clandestine supply lines. Yes. I think it's about here. Oh, okay. We still need the money to do it. It just takes... You gotta... Okay. Okay. That's... I thought you were spending some of your early influence points, because this is, like, you know, almost a month's worth. Or I guess technically like half a month's worth. In order to build a base. I thought it was, potentially a way to do that. How much does raising funds give us? $500,000? With a 5,000 increase. Covert approach, our network influential backers will request additional financial support. As the illicit misappropriation of government funds requires careful concealment, they will need to invest significant time discreetly routing money into our accounts. Now, when they say daily increase, does that mean we actually get like an additional 5,000 a day? Because that would be really worth it. Potentially allowing for a lot more expansion. Okay. See, I know every run of this previously, I didn't really use these options much because they seemed like a cop-out. Okay, what does identifying recruits do? So, refreshes the soldier pool. Daily increase, -1 operation point. Cost is... Okay, so that's... Yeah, if there's just a bunch of weird units there. I don't know about that one. Maybe if it was cheaper. Okay, let's see. 5% engineering duration. -2 to a Doomsday, +1 operation points a day. I think this one, because that's usually what I end up going for, because it gives a pretty decent return over time. Because that's, for all intents and purposes, like a 13% increase to your points. Okay, so we got our plot thing, we got our vehicles, we got interrogation. Do the interrogation because that gives you an extra 100 points. Go ahead and throw that out there. Okay. So, autopsy cleaner agent. While it was previously unclear what role the smartly dressed agents observed supporting cleaner operations played within their organization, an autopsy process has revealed a great deal. There's little question that these cleaner agents are entirely human. Several of the bodies were easy to identify from personal effects and medical records, and all have been confirmed as employees of government intelligence agencies. Operations Division was able to obtain their personnel files, and I see nothing to indicate that these individuals had been acting strangely or held unusual beliefs. It appears they are simply employees of intelligence agencies subverted by the cleaners. Sadly, this probably reflects the... Oop, hold on. Random thing popping up here. What was I saying? So, sadly, this probably reflects the dubious legality of our organization. Governments are either deliberately suppressing knowledge of alien activity or have been infiltrated by hostile forces intent on doing so, leaving us no choice but to operate beyond the law. Until this changes, we will likely continue to clash with those unwilling to do, unwillingly doing the bidding of our extraterrestrial invaders. Yet we cannot change course. The very survival of our species may rest in our success. Thankfully, cleaner agents are not particularly fearsome. Lacking formal military training and equipped only with light weapons, they are noticeably less capable than one of our own soldiers, and yeah, this is very true. You can just beat them down like nothing. Alright, let's see. There's little doubt our captive cleaner agent is fully human. Troublingly, there's also no evidence to suggest that they are fully under any form of alien control. Interrogation of the subject suggests he remains unaware of the ongoing extraterrestrial invasion, instead appearingly believing our organization represents a powerful crime syndicate illegally manufacturing drugs and trafficking weapons. Sharing evidence of alien activity proved more effective than coercion, eventually resulting in the bewildered prisoner agreeing to cooperate with our questions. This allowed us to verify the identity of our captive and extract valuable information about their recent activities. It appears the cleaners have subverted several important law enforcement agencies, allowing the creation of false investigations into their opponents, including us. Many of the cleaner agents we face are just ordinary men and women, all wholly unaware that they serve the interests of the invaders. This brings us back to our captive. As there seems no obvious reason to conduct a dissection, we have chosen to move him to our cells. We can consider releasing him once his knowledge no longer poses a threat, and so you get an extra 35 operation points for that. So yeah, I don't know. I think that's a one-time bonus in this case. I remember there was a discussion as to whether or not it would be really overpowered to just get more and more bonuses if you capture more of them instead of fighting them. Because I know, like, personally, it's always like, these are just dudes. Just, like, knock them out instead of fighting them. So there's that. Also, apologies for the random can opening. I wanted a thing that was in a can, and it was delicious. Okay. Let's go ahead and speed up time here a little bit. Was there anything I was going for? Not really. Got a decent amount of stuff going so far. Yeah, there we go. I was going to say the infiltrators are about to be activated. So, Doomsday counter now increases each day. Several potential supporters appear to be acting strangely, leading Operations Division to conclude that they are aligned with the cleaners. The supporters have been reclassified as infiltrators. We believe they are using their influence to accelerate Doomsday. Each active infiltrator will bring the Doomsday counter by 0.5 per day, however they can be eliminated by spending operation points. And so yeah. It's, is it still... Oh, good. Can get rid of this guy. Go, it's down to 70. Eliminating infiltrators gives you a lot more bonus and costs a lot less than a lot of your other options. Anyway. So, general interrogation. Capturing our former comrade has proved an astute choice. We have learned far more from studying him alive than we could have gained from a body. Observation of the interrogation carried out by Operations Division suggests our prisoner is a shadow of the man who led this organization a few weeks ago. Confused and clearly disorientated, he frequently trails off midway through answers to stare blankly into space. Holy crap, did they put him on third shift? Anyway, at other times he's consumed by sudden flashes of rage, which then dissipate as fast as they appeared. Although our initial medical inspection revealed nothing unexpected, a subsequent brain scan revealed the presence of significant swelling and bleeding within the skull. This is the sort of injury one might expect to see in a stroke victim, yet in this case the cause appears to be extensive tissue burns localized within the brain itself. I wonder if they're gonna, tie this all into Havana syndrome or something. Anyway, so precisely how the general suffered severe burns to the inside of his head is unclear, yet it seems unlikely to be a coincidence. I remain skeptical our former leader would willingly betray the cause, suggesting our enemies may possess some kind of ability to manipulate the human mind, albeit with rather significant side effects. Sadly, I cannot say whether he will ever recover from these injuries. His symptoms may improve as the cranial swelling from the burns subsides, or the brain damage may ultimately prove permanent. Regardless, he will spend the remainder of the war in a cell. Operations Division report that the fragments of information gleaned from the General's Michael's rare moments of lucidity have nonetheless proved useful, especially when combined with our intelligence extracted from the documents found in his possession. A number of our operatives have been freed up and can take additional work, which gives you another 100 operations points, which means another research project, which, yeah, we'll just do the plot one, because I'm not going to be able to afford vehicles for now. And another betrayer dude gets obliterated. Let's see. 2 operation points, or plus 5 doomsday per day. Get rid of that guy. Okay. Now we're at 340. Which is this guy? 101. And these are all currently 101. I think it's just going up per... Actually, no, it isn't. I probably should have gone for that one because it was cheaper. Yeah, so their cost, like the cost of either getting supporters or getting... eliminating infiltrators or whatever else is going to scale depending on the difficulty of their security. Anyway. Alright, abduction site. So, yeah, these ones are pretty easy. And want to get a capture, so... There are some dudes in there. Alright. Get on the helicopter. I need to hire more dudes. There's, like, nobody left. Good to know. Only got a couple spares if something goes wrong. Alright. See, this guy's very accurate. We should probably just leave him as a rifle dude. Get rid of that. It's funny, the breach bombs used to be way, they were insanely good early on. They kind of... I don't want to say they fell off as much as just, like... I think they just rebalanced everything else to be a bit better. Let's see, more flashes on you, more... probably not the smoke. Right, I'll do decent as that. I know it's probably going to drive somebody insane that I keep not using the pre-built loadouts, but I prefer to run all of these custom. You could not be more average. Let's see. Good reflexes guy. Yeah, get rid of the breach, replace with some armor, get rid of the extra mag, there we go. Honestly, I should probably just save this as the standard rifleman loadout. There's just heavy armor on everybody as far as I'm concerned is a must. Yeah, get rid of that. You, sir, need more flashbangs, though. Yep. Yeah, you do get the armor. This... Yeah, there we go. Looks a bit more reasonable, I suppose. Actually, it's supposed to be more like, here, put these over here. But I have the grenades in a stack in his inventory down here. I just noticed it won't actually be possible to do the challenge run I was posting about a little while ago. The whole, like, NPC with a pistol kind of thing in this one. Because there's no belt. Like, the whole deal was that they could only carry stuff that was on their belt, and in this case they just have the one kind of inventory square, but Alright, snipey, yeah, give you one of these, take out some of these. It's funny how in both of these games they were just so dead set on assuming everyone's gonna need just all this extra ammo. And most of the time you just kind of get through the entire thing using your initial load there. Probably shouldn't be taking this one at night, but I guess we're gonna get to see the night fight mechanics. Alright. Anyway, so I see there are a few more folks here. How's everybody's afternoon going? Anybody up to anything interesting? Hopefully having at least a half-decent week. Music. Okay. Yes, there are aliens. There be aliens. Doing alright? How about yourself? You know, busy, stressed as always, as you do. But dealing with problems one at a time. But, yeah. Today's thing ended up starting a little bit late due to personal matters and such that needed to be dealt with. But I believe everything was hopefully dealt with, and yeah. That's about that. One day at a time. As it goes. Alright. So, night mechanics in this one, for those unfamiliar. The basic gist is that you have, you do have more limited line of sight and everything, but you've got infinite flares. So effectively, you're just kind of using all those flares to try to light up the area as much as possible. The other thing, though, is that you want to run up to these guys as much as possible. These abduction ones are basically smash and grabs. That was weirdly slow. Yeah, so, like in this particular case, just trying to get that guy out of the way immediately. Because, yeah, you have to reach 10 of them, and the time frame is pretty strict. So whenever it comes to these abduction missions here, generally speaking, the stuff you'll run into won't be terribly intense, but, like, you gotta get there. Gotta get there quickly. And yeah, exactly. One day at a time, you know. As you get older, everything always gets more complicated. Alright. Here, what do we got? Guy over that way. He spotted us, so probably do one of these. See if you can just like pop around the corner and pop this guy. I'm gonna keep an eye on here because I'm assuming he's probably gonna come down here, probably approach to around the door. So probably see about watching that doorway. A couple of units are just gonna be like trying to just run around as fast as they can. I really do need to be putting an HMG user on the team here because as it stands, there's not a whole lot of suppression action in anyone's pockets. Yeah, thankfully the mission variety is a good bit more varied in this one. So, like, in the early game, you've got, like, ambush missions where you are completely surrounding a map. You've got ones where you're like, extracting teams out of the middle of a fight there or, you know, getting a journalist out of somewhere. Kind of, honestly, in many ways, cooler versions of the stuff that Enemy Unknown did. Yeah, a lot more mission variety than the just sort of, like, 2 or 3 different kinds that we saw in Xeno 1. Lots more happening here. Yeah, it's funny with this game. It's just always held a soft spot for me personally because it has like the team behind this game has like they've gone through so much over the years, and it feels like every time that they put out a major update, there is something else putting out a major update. Like I was looking at the release date, like, oh man, this is great. It's coming up right here, and then immediately after, like, here's all this information about what is totally not XCOM 3. it's like you just know somebody's sitting there, like, damn it, come on. Anyway. I'm not gonna lie, when I saw the post that you were gonna stream this today for the release, I thought it was April Fool's, but it's actually... Oh, yeah, no, it finally... Yeah, it's been a while. Definitely been a while. Let's pop you over here. He's going. He's just not going very fast, thankfully. Yeah, you pop onto here, because I want him to be able to see somebody through the door. Otherwise, like, if he's right here, he'll probably try to take his pistol, take a shot, bounce off of this. If I just leave this guy here, you know he's going to be like, wee, pistol shot to the face. So, yeah. That wouldn't be great. Anyways, Mr. Pistol Guy over here is going to go ahead and do his thing where he just collects people. Because, again, you do want to get to these guys as soon as possible. Currently, there's 5 turns left and 9 more people to find. So, yeah, we need to be running there. Yeah, for everyone that you don't rescue, you take a bit of a loss there. But if you can get everybody, you can actually get a really huge benefit out of this. But yeah, no, honestly, I meant to do something for April Fools. But yeah, life is life. You know how this channel is. Every time that there's some kind of holiday thing or something, most of the time I end up missing it. Because like, I think about it a week before, like, oh, I'm going to totally get it done. And then it's like, oh, guess what? There's like 3 appointments for the kiddos, and also somebody got sick, and also the schedule changed, and, you know, there's always something. Alright, this dude is, like, right outside the door somewhere, so Alright, so he survived that. Good to know. He don't get overwatched, and he's dead. Okay, well, anyway. He took 3... Oof. He'll barely survive the bleeding wounds. You're gonna go here. You're gonna take a half aim shot. Perfect. Okay, that could have gone very poorly. And again, right now, just replacing a couple of people will be doable. But yeah, if panic goes completely haywire, it'll be a bit more of a problem. Actually, I keep forgetting. This is why I bring the dang grenade launcher around. So the grenade launcher is basically, if you've ever played Bad Company 2, it's basically like having somebody walking around with the airstrike. Like, if anyone played that and ever ran a airstrike sniper, it's basically the same deal. But you can pretty much knock that thing anywhere on the map to give somebody a bleeding wound, and that is very, very effective. But yeah, usually the enemy density is relatively low on these missions, unless they change something for release, which I wouldn't be shocked, but also, you know, we're seeing what we're seeing right now. Okay, just take a couple of quick taps here. Good. And yeah, one benefit that you get in this one that you definitely didn't have in the last one is that your units are not the only ones that can bleed, which means that you can far more comfortably kill it. Namely, sometimes you just take a shot, and that's all you really need. It's just kind of a one-and-done kind of deal. Makes it very convenient for dealing with the little stuff early on. So, I guess honestly, the better example would have been something like a longbow user in Tactics Ogre or something like that, where they're just kind of the mile-away kill option. Again, unless they like radically change something for release, but I doubt it. Yeah, I was playing the release version yesterday just to test it out, and all seemed good. Okay. One thing that they do seem to have changed from earlier versions, and I could completely be wrong on this, please miss, thank you, is that I think they switched it back to at least some of the targeting logic from Xeno 1. So, in 1, the logic behind your shots was a little bit backwards in some cases. So, like, let's say you take a shot at this guy, and you see how when they're taking a shot here, I don't know who the hell it's assuming is taking the shot here, but here, and you can see in this case, everywhere along that line, if it has a chance to hit something, it tells you what the odds are that the shot will go wrong and hit that thing instead. So it's basically reducing the odds to hit, and so, for example, your odds of hitting that exact tile right there is 28%. In the original one, they kind of had this backwards where essentially your odds to hit something far away were calculated before the odds to hit something before. So oftentimes you would, for example, just end up passing all the checks to hit something far away only to just immediately shoot the box in front of you. So instead, in this particular case, it just tells you like what all the goalposts are for your shot to actually land. But I believe the logic is still that if it says 28%, it just means that exact tile. It's not counting for all of the variations in between. So if you ever see somebody taking like 10% shots, you know, it's not exactly counting for like, okay, this is 55%, but also that's for this particular tile. All these tiles down here would still work for that shot, you know? Anyway. Alright, so I need that guy to... Alright, we're going to test something real quick. Is this enough to get this one? Yes. Good. If I have to heal yourself, we're going to crouch and pray. This could go very badly very quickly. Please don't fuck this up. You fucked it up. Honestly, shouldn't have done that, but alright, whatever. It's a thing that happened. Moving on. Okay. Let's see, 72%. Out of curiosity, how does this compare with the knife? This is partially why I wanted to do that. Yeah, pistol accuracy is still better than knife accuracy. Good to know. The other guy. Got 3 turns left to find everybody, though. Here. Around there. Hopefully, this will work out okay. It's not exactly the greatest positioning there. Fortunately, this guy... This. There we go. See, he fixed the problem, kind of. She fixed the problem, rather. Not bad. There. Here. Go ahead and rescue this one. Four out of 10, 3 turns left. Probably not amazing odds to get everybody, but it's not technically impossible. Same as with the shot. See? Not technically impossible. Very bad choice, but not technically wrong. See, but if you aim behind all the way, it's still the same percent chance to hit. I mean, yeah, but what I mean is, like, if it fails to hit that first thing and then it still rolls one of the tiles behind somebody, then that still ends up working out, is what I was trying to say. So, like, that's especially true for, let's say, stuff with a crazy long range, like HMGs or something, where, you know, its misfire chance is relatively high, but also it has a whole bunch of range, and that entire line behind somebody would still work for getting a hit. Okay, this guy is a bit of a problem. Let's go ahead and do one of these for right now. Say the odds of actually hitting that is pretty low. I'm hoping this guy passes out. Head and practice your gun fu on this guy. In fact, actually, let's go ahead and just try to capture him. Right, cool, cool. Good miss. Good miss. Awesome. Well, that went great. Yeah, there's like a 100% chance this misfires and just like crits on everybody. Okay. Right, EU. 91% chance to fix this problem. Do it. Amazing. Okay, new plan. Maybe he don't breathe so good. There we go. So there is a pretty solid chance, because I don't think they have the point blank rule in this one. So you can maybe run back there. You can crouch. There's a decent chance he'll either pass out or try to get into a better position and pass out that way. Don't know. One of those two things might happen. And if it doesn't, that's a problem. Alright. You do one of these. Alright. And that guy is hopefully bleeding, and hopefully then... Honestly, I probably should have just run up with the pistol there. Okay. Finally, that leaves one guy who needs to ideally run up here. Okay. Yeah, every part of that was a bad choice. Let's see what happens. So those two... So I don't see how much stun damage it did to the Cesian over there. Please pass out, please pass out. Ah. Well, he decided to just flee, so that still works. That guy's still unfortunately okay, and why is that wall missing? At some point, something apparently just like flew over here and blew a hole in this wall, and I didn't realize it. Good to know. Alright, in that case, press the delete button. Cool. He's gone. He's fallen unconscious from that grenade to the dome. Good to know. That's apparently still a thing that can happen. See, hey, is there a Steam Workshop available or some mode inside the game? No Steam Workshop or mods available? Last time they did have modding tools with it, and I saw that there is an option for mods. So, like, they've always been pretty mod-friendly with this one. and I would expect it's pretty much the same thing here. I haven't directly seen any mods yet, but also it just released today, so that's, you know, a factor. But yeah, I would assume that, yeah, we're probably going to see a good bit of mods. Like last time there was a good bit of community mods. You had stuff like the X Division overhaul, which was amazing. So yeah, I would expect a good bit of that. I don't know if it's necessarily going to have a workshop. I think Xeno 1 had a workshop. Not sure off the top of my head. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it did. Alright, please don't get wrecked. Okay. Rescue that one. Really? Okay. This guy's just being a dick at this point. Sweet. Glad I made that choice. Nothing wrong with that choice whatsoever. Alright, you crouch, because now you're in danger. Is there anybody not currently in danger? You are not currently in danger, so you get to go over here. There's one guy over here. I'm hoping the smoke prevents him from doing anything. You run over this way. Okay. Yeah, that was a bit of a bummer. The one exception to this, and this is partially like Xeno 1 muscle memory kicking in, I think part of what they were trying to do, and I really hope this wasn't the case if it is what they changed, it feels a lot like when it comes to like weapon accuracy and stuff like that, stuff like the pistol possibly, like if you are directly in point blank range, I think it's using the same idea when it's an enemy involved. So like, let's say being right here would have been where I needed to take the shot instead of being right here, because right here potentially counts as a chance to miss. So like, let's say before it was like if you're aiming right at this guy, it would be basically guaranteed because they're blocking your shot. In this case, it is rolling for a chance, but because they're adjacent to you, it can ignore that in the case of a miss and shoot for something behind you. So that's for those cases where, like, let's say somebody's kneeling down, and let's say this random lady over here, you know, had a shotgun or something, they could shoot over this guy's head without blowing him away. It makes sense that they made that change, because that was one of the annoying problems in the launch version of Xenonauts there, where it's like, hey, this guy with a shield is sitting there providing cover to his buddy. Oh, wait, his buddy just suddenly, you know, gave him a sudden surprise shotgun colonoscopy. Like, it's, yeah, it's understandable why that happened there, but yeah, in the case of this, it probably just doesn't have a separate rule for, like, point blanking somebody with a pistol or something. Which is situationally annoying, but again, oof, that's a bummer. So, missed one, but the rest got away, thankfully. This guy passes out. Yes, he does. Don't do it. Be out of points. I will say, this first phase does a very good job of reminding you of your mistakes. Because in the first one, like, if stuff like this oftentimes didn't stick lesson-wise, because it would be like, oh, you know, they took some shots, they immediately got deleted whether you adjusted your way of playing or not. In this one, they're a lot less directly lethal. So like, you have Cesians with pistols, you have very few things like civilians around. So civilians are not like civilians. They're honestly, of all the things they needed changes, that was probably one of those things. Sebis, they sound too close to civilians. They're like, oh, a civilian with a shotgun. There is a civilian with a shotgun, but a civilian with a shotgun is a giant frickin' iguana with, like, you know, a laser cannon. Civilian with a shotgun is Farmer Joe over there with his 12 gauge. It's a little bit confusing, but whatever. But yeah, no, they changed the names of the Cesians, but not the Sebis for some reason. Anyway, maybe it's just, well, actually, no, it's some kind of scientific name thing. I think that was the reason that they went for it. Okay. I love how I was talking up the grenade launcher and then just, like, absolutely threw it into flunky status over and over here, as it's failed to do anything useful this entire stream. I swear it's good, you guys. Anyway, but yeah, if anybody has any mechanical questions, seriously, there's no dumb questions here. I'll try to explain as best as I can. I'm sure there's some stuff that changed that I'm completely woofing, but whatever. It's as accurate as I can hopefully provide it for right now. All right. There. I love the sound of the indoor footsteps. Always love that about Xeno. It's got a lot of that sort of old Resident Evil energy to the fights. It's like it's basically strategy, survival, horror, to be honest. Okay. And yeah, this lady's just having a real bad go of it right now. Well, they're about to get wiped. Unless the guy decides to suddenly run away by any chance. Or has equally bad accuracy. Gladly take that. Oh, nope, there he goes. In fact, actually, her odds of hitting with a pistol are probably better at this range than they were before. Which, in all honesty, makes sense. Again, since we're on the subject, like, Resident Evil kind of stuff, recently was going through those remakes and stuff, and yeah, it's the exact same thing. It's like you try to hit something in your face, and you're never going to hit the dang thing. Alright, cool miss. Cool miss. You gotta go over there. You have no shot. Would you like to consider maybe having a shot? No. Still have not a shot. Is he panicking? Then smoke it is. Yes, this one little dude decides to, at some point, stop being friggin' alien John Wick over here. And I'd assume he's probably the last guy because we haven't seen a whole lot else. Like I said, early on it's fairly quiet. So this place has a back door. And in case this guy decides to go through the back door, we've got Mr. Swedish Leon over here. And in case he decides to go run up this way, you won't be able to do anything useful. And neither will you. Fantastic. I've played this so well. See, never played Xeno 1. I don't know, just always had too many games on the backlog. Yeah, I mean, that's understandable. Again, Xeno 1, it's one of these ones, like, if you weren't looking for that specific thing at that specific time, you probably wouldn't have played it. Hell, I wouldn't have played it if my friend Leos hadn't, or Matthias, hadn't gone and sent it to me. Like, just like one day I just get a Steam thing. It's like, this looks like something that you might be interested in. And, you know, played it a bunch. It's like, yeah, hell yeah, this is exactly what I'm interested in. Because, yeah, it's basically like XCOM, but with more of a horror flair to it. You know, a much bigger focus on your budget, much bigger focus on being just completely outmatched, very human versus very inhuman things. Like, for example, later on in this one, there's basically aliens running around with facehugger guns and whatnot. So, that's always fun. Alright, so, odds of this misfiring and just deleting both my dudes over there. And, wow, it actually didn't for once. Fantastic. Alright. Then, we need 23 for a flashbang, so we'll just go ahead and do that. And that is intentionally hitting this guy, so that hopefully... Really? You messed that up so hard that you threw it into the couch cushions, suppressed this guy to hide behind the couch, and missed both of these guys. Beautiful. Just honestly impressive work there. You go this... Please don't mess this up. Yeah, I love the breach bombs in this, too, as he gets turned into jam. Alright. Let's see, how long have you been going? Currently it's been like an hour-ish, something like that. Let's see, want more games, hang on. Whoops. There, I'm gonna type in a thing so I can actually read it. Why does it need that thing there? So you want more games growing out of XCOM? There's a surprising amount of XCOM likes out there, and again, I was saying earlier, it's got to be so frustrating for the dev team of this thing that it seems like every time that they're going and announcing something, there's just another thing coming out. Like, I remember one of their major updates a little bit ago. Like, hey, here's this thing. Also, guess what? Mutagenics is coming out. Like, oh, hey, here's this thing. Oh, guess what? Menace is coming out. Oh, hey, here's this thing. Oh, guess what? There's a bunch of news about the new Star Wars thing that's basically XCOM 3 and Silent Storm 3 at the same time. It's like you just know that they're just sitting there over their crystal ball like, I know this time there won't be anything coming out, and then it's just like, we have decided we've skipped XCOM 3 straight to XCOM 4 just to mess with the DLC release for XCOM for Xeno 2. Uh, but no. But yeah, no. Like this game's got a lot of heart. I should point out it evolves the XCOM formula in a lot of different ways. Like the original XCOM, obviously you had a lot of kind of like freedom to it, but unless you knew that you were supposed to be going and reading all the graphs to figure out where activity was taking place and whatever else, unless you were super into a lot of the really manual aspects of it, it oftentimes could feel a bit directionless, you know. That's what was kind of brilliant about the XCOM remakes, because I mean, like personally, Enemy Unknown is one of my favorite things ever, especially the Vita version because it's always in my pants. Well, my vest, but it's funnier to say it's in your pants. Anyways, though, so yeah, one of my favorite things ever because yeah, it has that sort of horror energy to it, but it also is constantly directly, you know, throwing you in the right direction of where you're supposed to go. It reminds you when you're messing something up as far as progress goes. It's good at kind of staying on the rails. It has more guide rails, sure, but in that particular context where there's so much going on, it's kind of nice, you know? Like, I can't even tell you how many campaigns of Open XCOM I've started over the years, only to just kind of like just abandon them halfway through because I just get bored because it's just like everything's progressing, sure, but nothing's really changing. It's just the same fight after the same fight. You know, even with stuff like Final Mod Pack on, it's just like we're doing the same thing over and over. It gets really repetitive, and that's what I like about this one. That they change up a lot of things. So like with every new phase, there's new mechanics. Like you have the Doomsday Clock for the beginning, then you have more of a sort of like panic thing between countries. So like right now, it's sort of panic in general. At that point, it's more different regions. Later on, you have... I think they still kept the orbital cannon for the final part of it, where it's just like, if you don't do something about it, they're just going to vaporize a city every week. So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that. Yeah, they keep releasing new updates before I can get to Endgame again, so I don't know what the actual Endgame looks like at this point, but I'm assuming they probably have the big space laser still, so there's that. Alright. We're gonna do... You know, I want vehicles next. Okay, no. No on canceling that. That alloys. Do the report. And definitely recruit more dudes, because we need more of them. Now, personally, everybody's got their own requirements. I prefer to kind of try to run the team idiot-proof and primarily recruit off of bravery score entirely. So I get everybody with a bravery above 50, and then kind of work with whatever they got. Sure, some of them absolutely suck, but at least they're not going to panic, and that's what I care about. Alright. Also, one more thing I should probably mention. As far as the mechanics being different all the time, in the early game here, whenever you're not using your engineers, they're actually generating money for you. Alright. Now, one quick second. Just gotta go run to the bathroom real quick, so I'll be right back. While the waveform analysis thing happens on screen. Be right back. Alrighty, hand it back. So about that. See, good menu music. That's the new playlist making VG menu music. Yeah, honestly, so they asked me to remove it, so fair enough. But yeah, the music and when I posted the air game music to this thing earlier, man, this game's got some great music. Honestly, like if they probably should sell the soundtrack to this one. Like oftentimes, it's kind of wild to me that certain games don't sell their soundtrack. I actually thought Kingsbane didn't because I really wanted to have it on the Steam thing, but apparently you can go get it on was it SoundCloud or something? I don't know, one of these random streaming things or whatever. But it's like, no, I want it available in the music section of the Steam Deck, which is like if you don't get it directly through Steam, it's a whole pain in the butt to get it. And I'm still kind of upset that Square refuses to sell the Tactics Ogre soundtrack separately. You have to buy the thing a second time with the deluxe edition or whatever to get the soundtrack. It's just like, dude, at the very least you could send me the soundtrack. All the free advertising. Anyway, moving on though. Let's continue on here. So, waveform analysis. Although my unmatched intellect allows me to outperform inferior experts across most scientific disciplines, my true specialism is in the study of quantum fields. Of course it is. These quantum fields permeate everything in existence, yet interact with nothing. They behave exactly the same in the heart of a star as they do in the empty vacuum of the distant edge of the universe. Detecting a large number of anomalous quantum signals in the vicinity of Earth was thus rather perplexing. We know that each anomaly represents some form of alien activity on our planet, most likely the signature of an enemy faster-than-light device. Their frequency usually correlates closely with fluctuations in the quantum field itself. A rising waveform pattern means a similar rise in enemy activity, whereas a falling waveform causes the opposite. In other words, the waveform pattern appears to limit the amount of mass our enemies can transport to our world. No matter how large their forces may be, they can only deploy a handful of operatives each month. Indeed, this likely explains their historic focus on infiltration rather than outright invasion. I love how this justifies the system's limitations. Sadly, this is about to change. We have entered the early stages of a waveform pattern of unprecedented size, a veritable quantum tsunami threatening to wash us away. Alien activity will continue to increase as the signal rises, and in less than 3 months it will reach levels where a large-scale invasion becomes a realistic probability. The peak will not arrive for another 3 further months, during which time our enemies will be able to deploy still greater forces each passing day. Yet should humanity still withstand this onslaught, the pattern will reverse. The flood of alien reinforcements will slowly dwindle away, eventually reaching levels where the invasion cannot be sustained. Probability suggests a waveform pattern of this magnitude will not reoccur for many centuries, giving the extraterrestrials only a narrow window of opportunity for invasion. Defeat them, and humanity will be safe for generations to come. Which is, yeah, it's a cool way of kind of explaining explaining away system limitations and setting up the game right there, so like that. Hold on. Let me do the thing again so I can actually read what it says. Why, YouTube? Why must you put the little heart icon there? Let's see. I wonder what the thing is about not putting stuff out. Wait, what? What do you mean, like, on, like what, on whose end exactly? Okay, we got xenobiology for the plot. Assigned research project. Yeah, we'll do this one because it gives us a increase in funding. If we, yeah, that gives us right before the deadline there. So yeah, if you go for a lot of your plot research early, that's actually another thing that I really like about the pacing as opposed to sort of the XCOM formula there. There's a reason to rush the plot because the earlier you get it, the more of an actual advantage you get. That's actually probably one of the biggest issues with the XCOM remakes. It's just like, if you know the pivot points, and be like, you know what, I'm going to hold off on doing the codex, because every codex is a pain in the butt to fight, until we get all the stuff that can one-shot a codex. So, anyway, alright, the following buildings have finished construction at our new site at New Valeria. We got our 2 generators. Okie dokie, fantastic. There was that one dude that could be eliminated over here for pennies. Where is he? Right, well, I guess his cost went up. That's a bummer. Alright, whatever. I guess we'll get to scrub him from existence in a couple of days. Yeah. So the thing is, yeah, with supporters, they're like double, triple the cost of eliminations. And we'll probably have to do a panic reduction pretty soon. We're already at 45%. Soundtrack Square would have great money off that. I assume it's probably because of doing live performances or something. It's honestly all I can think of why they would do that. And we'll just go ahead and auto-resolve this. And yeah, they're gonna just collect the alloys off that because that was just a probe. Probably won't have a proper ground mission for a while. Alright, so UFO probe. This is quite the occasion. It's not every day that one is presented with the opportunity to study a captured extraterrestrial vessel. An intact version of this probe would no doubt be a veritable treasure trove of scientific discovery, but alas, we have only the mangled remains of one that has struck the ground at several hundred kilometers per hour. The wreckage is nonetheless fascinating. The vessel is primarily constructed from mundane titanium, but we have also extracted a small quantity of more exotic materials from within the hull, presumably representing the remnants of destroyed electronics. Intriguingly, the quantum signals given off by the probe are curiously small compared to those previously recorded, suggesting it's more compact or at least lighter than other UFOs. It may well be unmanned. No indication can be found within the wreckage of a crew nor any life support systems. The primary armament seems to be a laser cannon. Damage patterns on our interceptor suggest the weapon is capable of blasting a hole right through an aircraft, yet the relatively rugged construction of an Angel can withstand numerous such hits. Indeed, one suspects this craft was not built for combat. Recordings suggest it is slow, poorly armored, and lacks maneuverability. Now we possess a reliable method of detecting them. These probes should be easy targets. Neato. And then, yeah, from there you can do aerial warfare, which for now we're fine. That's going to be okay for the first couple months. Yeah, once the invasion proper starts, that's when you start needing some better air weapons, but for right now, it's mostly about the ground stuff. And the budget is relatively limited, and also, how much is a training center? Because I really need one of those up as soon as possible. 750k. Right. And we're gonna need more workshops for that. That's gonna be another 500k. Yeah, more engineers is more income for now. Alright, so there's an extraction. We've regained contact with 3 of our experienced soldiers that were out on an operation when we lost the Atlas base. A team of cleaners is already closing on the location, give us an opportunity to save our comrades and weaken our enemies. So you get 3 sergeants and negative 20% to Doomsday. Okie dokie. Free stuff, you say. Okay. So, let's see. Basic rifle guy, decently accurate, whatever, he'll do fine. Oh yeah, also you have to save space on your thing for this, so unfortunately you can't re-equip them or anything. They have very standard stuff. Now, out of curiosity, yeah, I think they are randomly generated. I was looking for some of the units that were in the intro, but I don't think it's them. Alright, not you. I would like a Grenadier, though, because I think our Grenadier died last time. In fact, I kind of want to say this guy with his really high accuracy would probably be our best option for that. Alright. Get rid of everything else. You are purely the grenade guy. Congratulations. I guess we'll just do this. Not ideal, but it'll work. Alright. And once again, it's probably a night mission, because that line is not terribly forgiving. Nice art? Oh yeah, absolutely. But yeah, no, as far as, like, Square not putting money out, or not putting their soundtracks out, yeah, I'll never really get that one. They do put out the occasional soundtrack, it's just, like, why don't you sell them separately? Why do they always have to be packaged in with stuff? I mean, there's just so many cases where I just don't understand the way that they do things, considering how long they've been around. It's almost like they have too much stuff floating around and things just endlessly fall through the cracks, you know? But, who knows? Who knows? Yeah, that music sounds like an mission. Alright. Yes. We lost the dudes. They are here. Go acquire dudes. So, first order of business. You step out. Give this guy the business. Neato. Okay, so there's a guy over there. Right. Please nail that. Perfect. Alright. Odds are pretty high that they are bleeding, so we'll go ahead and leave that there. Go ahead and run up this. Get crouch. Okay. Shotguns are still good in this one, but man, they are nowhere nearly as ridiculous as they were last time around. Like, Xeno 1 shotguns were literally the only weapon you would need all game. Probably toast. 33 for a flashbang. That. Where are they in relation to everything else here? Right. Man. that is an interesting place for the bed there. They wanted to see, like, pure exhibitionist house right here. The hell are you guys doing in this bed? Nice opening salvo. Yeah, that turned out pretty decent. Yeah, yeah, somebody was not shy in this house. Okay. Now, normally I prefer to spend a couple turns watching the house there, but this is, like, insanely exposed, and I'm assuming we're probably not seeing a whole lot from, you know, this direction here. Odds are pretty low of that one. Try busting the windows, see about kind of getting them a bit more aggressive here. Probably not going to be anything there, probably not going to be too much here, but all the same. Try to cover as many angles as possible here. Nice. Dude just running up with his shorts and his Beretta. I was on vacation, but you never know when that cheese needs to become Swiss. Gotta love it. Like, honestly, I laugh, but I genuinely knew a dude that just, like, carried around a duffel bag full of rifles everywhere he went. Just like, why? What do you expect to happen on your vacation? They must be on the other side of the map from you? Well, yeah. Definitely. Alright, so this guy's having a rough go of it. Run points due to suppression. Move that guy. He's probably dead. Also, another cool feature that they did in this one, even if you're out of line of sight, they still will remain over there. That should do. Okay, one guy's tomato sauce, the other guy's gone. You, sir, need to go right here. He's going to take the first shot that he sees. It's not the safest place, but it'll have to work. You need to get smoked. He's already in rough shape. I'm probably gonna have to stun baton him, but hopefully he takes some stun damage off that. I'm pretty solidly sure that that won't happen, because, you know, gas mask and all that. But they're not exactly in the best position right now, because in order to get a stun baton going, you really want to have them suppressed, and right now I don't have anybody free to do that. The blood at his feet, tomato storytelling sauce. Yeah, thankfully, anybody on the opposite side can also bleed in this one. That was always a little bit annoying, because so in Xeno 1, bleed would not go away, ever. So essentially you have somebody that takes just one random scratch from something, even in, like, power armor or something like that, and they're basically toast. They are just on a death clock at that point because they got scratched by something. Whereas you go and you like shotgun blast something several times, and they're like, "Oh, it's fine. Just recovering past this, no problem." So that was a little frustrating. Thankfully, that's well, this is going great. All right, thank you for finally taking your very delayed shot there, sir. Jeez. Okay, so they got all the marksmen for this one. Ooh, this is going great. All right. Right. Yeah. Like, they're injured, but they can be stun batoned. I do want to get at least one of these guys stun batoned. You get some additional points for that. Again, for now, we can get replacement units, but, yeah. Cool. Alright. Do you have a... I have 50-50 left to do. Perfect. Again, I know that was risky, but we're also kind of in a bit of a rough spot right now. Probably just gonna have to smoke. Just gonna watch this corner. He's gonna get shotgunned or he's gonna get batoned. One way or another, something's happening there. Support is coming from this way. No shots. That's cool. You in there at some point. It's gonna take a shot and throw out a smoke here. Oh, cool. Like, and then there was more. Okay. Cool. Love that these 80% are missing. Going great. Certain type of balance? Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, like, the balance on this one's pretty darn fun. Bear in mind, this is on one of the higher difficulties right now. So yeah, as far as the balance in, like, Xeno 1 and whatever else, it's not like... Honestly, with the whole bleeding thing, it didn't matter as much in a lot of cases, because most of the time, if you got hit by anything, they were just done. It really was only once you ended up getting stuff like, power armor and whatever else that anybody had any chance of surviving. Like, technically, they might be able to survive a hit, but the odds were low. That went well. Okay. Well, I'm sure glad that we're saving these three at the cost of everybody else, but at least we're, taking down on the doomsday clock, so that's something. Okay. So. We're gonna hit this guy. Hopefully, this works. Perfect. Okay. Got the capture. That's a lot of extra points, and she can now go rejoin the fight here. And it looks like it's mostly going to be these three rifle guys that are going to be doing the rescuing of themselves. Cool. Cool, cool. Take a shot. Hop back into cover. They're just like, what the hell happened? Why did they send the F team out to rescue us? Getting a little aggressive with that right there, but it'll have to do. Suppose you can make it out here? No, but you can make it to here. Okay. Hang on. Doing the thing so I can read the chat again. What do you watch as historical TV? do you mean as historical TV? Yeah, that guy is bleeding out, so we can probably somewhat safely ignore him. She's certainly in a bad spot right now. I'm gonna go over there. Actually, got enough to take a decent shot at this guy. Oh, worth a shot. Right. Johnny needs to get running. Cool. Thank you for that snipey action. Thankfully, she is running heavy armor right now. Go up here. Attempt to do something. Yeah, this has gone completely sideways right now. Hopefully the medical facility at least is just about built. You're just going to watch from right there. Just keep cover from that direction. You're going to watch from right there. You've been trying to watch the Ottoman Empire show? Wonder, yeah, I'd heard about that. I haven't really watched a whole lot of stuff lately. Last few months have basically been involved just like a move and changing a bunch of things and whole restructuring of life in general. So yeah, I mean, we're planning on doing a movie night right after right after this stream, so I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, haven't had a whole lot of chance to watch stuff like that, but would like to. You take one good shot at this guy, see if you can get him. Whatever, take two. Fantastic, you're screwed. Oh my god, this is some naked gun shit. Okay, right. Let's see. I will laugh if this somehow hits. Are you serious? This guy, or this lady over here, just like nails this dude in the kneecap through a friggin' wheel well or whatever. Through all of this. So apparently they shot like through the air vent into this guy's like kneecaps over here. This one's over here like right in their face. The sniper of the team can't hit with their 80% odds. Okay, cool, nice, classic XCOM like action. Right, you go there. You attempt to find the guy only to get jumped and make this rescue pointless. So you just kind of chill right there, I guess. You going to, I guess, just sort of run this way. Hope to catch this guy off guard and beat him with a stick. It's a very character-appropriate behavior, if we're honest. Now, I know technically it says, hey, there's one member. Okay, there's 0 members of the original team here. But remember that that technically there is, I think, a 30% chance for them to survive. So it's something. Anyway. Shotgun. Anyway. That guy's gone now. Right. Seriously, how the hell is apparently now dark-haired Kashua the ace of the team these days? Okay. Here. He's like right there or something, isn't he? Like one dude left. We're gonna lose everybody trying to get this guy. Yep, there he is. Although 88%, that is fantastic. Take that shot. Beautiful. Yep, that's the last one. And frickety-tastic. Alright, so we've got time for maybe one more. We'll see. Because I'm assuming the base is going to be the next one, and that would be... Actually, no, it's not going to be the base yet. They moved the base farther back. It used to be that you would just sort of get the base as a freebie, so you got, like, the facility first, and then you got the base. But yeah, I haven't gotten to yet, slight spoilers, but I really appreciate, like, what they did with the base and everything else in this one. It's genuinely a cool enough twist. It's worth reading through all of it, especially if you're a Xeno 1 fan, because it's just like you see all the little analogs. It's just like, oh man, this is just an alternate universe where everything went slightly differently and everything changed completely. So it's cool. It's cool. But okay, now we've got some medals and things. So, Gallantry Citation. Soldiers will be granted the Gallantry Citation when successful completion on a mission where more than 50% of the participating Xenonauts were casualties. Xenonauts that are reduced to 0 count as casualties even if they subsequently survive the battle. These casualty survivors do not earn the medal. The award of a medal will grant a soldier +1 to all attributes. So yeah, we lost a bunch of dudes. Unfortunately, none of them rolled their 30% survival chance. Whoopsie doodle. Additionally, it actually goes down with every HP over the limit that they were. So their odds might actually be lower. So like 30% is like if they get hit for exactly their health amounts and stuff. But anyway, okay. Yeah, so autopsy for the cleaner soldier. Must commend you. Must have been waiting some time to unmask our mysterious foes on the autopsy table. One suspects the distinctive hazmat suit and rebreather worn by the cleaner soldiers primarily serves to conceal their identity. Cutting them away exposes a Kevlar vest atop the torso that offers reasonable protection from basic firearms. The body beneath appears outwardly indistinguishable from a normal human, yet at a glance the roof of the mouth reveals heavy scarring. This implies significant surgical intervention, the full extent of which is only revealed by bisecting the skull. The countless metal implements are embedded within the brain, collectively replacing over a third of the tissue with electronics. I suspect that this represents some form of alien control device, but I would need access to a live cleaner to know for sure. Sadly, surgical removal does not appear feasible. The loss of so much brain matter means those implants themselves must be compensating in some manner. Removing them would almost certainly leave the patient in a vegetative state. While the identity of these soldiers remains unclear, there is thus little chance of them ever returning to their previous lives. Instead, they appear doomed to serve their extraterrestrial masters for the rest of their pitiful existence. And there we go, I got the live one. So, there's always been something vaguely human about our masked cleaner foes. Close observation of the captured soldier only makes this more obvious. A captive soldier spends most of their time staring blankly into space, exhibiting no frustration at being confined within a specimen tube. They appear content to eat any meal provided to them, so showing surprisingly little concern about revealing their face when doing so. The prisoner still seems capable of speech, albeit not particularly coherently. However, they proved highly resistant to our interrogation techniques, showing no reaction to physical pain and appearing oblivious to any attempts at psychological pressure. My suspicion is that the electronic implements embedded within the subject's brain are capable of altering sensory input. The captive may exist in a dreamlike state, seeing and only feeling what their extraterrestrial masters wish them to experience. Cleaner soldiers may thus be unaware of the realities of their situation, fully capable of carrying out complex tasks, yet robbed of any ability for higher thought. If so, it is little wonder that they have come to rely so heavily on these obedient thralls. Unfortunately, I believe these implements also provide advantages. One suspects they improve marksmanship, and the ability to ignore physical pain would certainly help explain the unusual durability of these units. So, plus 35 operation points, which can then be spent on... Yeah, get rid of this guy. Why not? So they're now down to 3.5% a day. Yeah, each of these missions are anywhere from like 0 to 30% depending on what they are. But yeah, you're kind of limited in terms of what you can realistically do to tick down the timer without taking extra steps. Okay, so xenobiology. Our universe appears to contain an unimaginable number of different environments in which life might evolve, permitting any potential extraterrestrial beings a dizzying array of weird and wonderful forms. Indeed, some of these could be so profoundly strange that scientists may struggle to recognize them as living creatures at all, thus making the uncanny resemblance between humanity and our alien adversaries deeply suspicious. These similarities are obvious even at the most basic level. Common foes such as the sectons are human bipeds with familiar musculoskeletal organ systems, and the remarkable magical ability to breathe our atmosphere without assistance, at least for a time. One possible explanation is that life may actually only emerge in a very narrow set of circumstances. If so, every creature in our universe would have arisen on a planet closely resembling our own, thus making them likely to evolve into somewhat familiar forms. Yet this seems scientifically improbable, and I have come to suspect something more sinister is at play. Exactly what this might be remains unclear. I simply lack sufficient data to meaningfully speculate on the topic. Performing more detailed autopsies on recovered alien corpses may reveal the truth. However, capturing at least some of our enemies alive would certainly assist my work. Riddling extraterrestrials with bullets rather than limiting... rather limits their usefulness as research specimens. I have created the stun gun to assist in this process. Although less powerful than the stun baton, it does permit your soldiers to incapacitate enemies beyond melee range. Consider it a subtle hint as to where your priorities should lie. Okay, so that's what it is. So yeah, I knew that so in previous versions, depending on like kills and stuff, you could get damage bonuses off of studying things. Apparently, there's also a second one for getting more live captures this time, so that's nice. Alright, anyway. So, autopsy secton. Sightings of diminutive extraterrestrials with pallid gray skin and oversized black eyes are a common thread among eyewitness reports of alien activity. It appears we may have encountered the culprits. The secton stands less than 5 feet tall and possesses substantially less muscle mass than the average human adult. Their physiology is nonetheless fascinatingly similar to our own, with mammalian circulatory system and largely recognizable internal organs. The head contains the most significant differences. Their brain is relatively large and has a distinctly unfamiliar structure, while the eyes are at least 3 times the size of a human equivalent. Unsurprisingly, this grants sectons excellent vision. The mouth is present, but is underdeveloped and is hidden between several folds of skin. The teeth suggest an omnivorous diet, yet no food is present in the stomach. Instead, a number of metal ports are dotted around the spine. However they evolved, it appears these creatures now receive their nutrition directly into their bloodstream. Battlefield reports suggest sectons can cover ground quickly but are generally weak, with average accuracy and reflexes but otherwise poor physical attributes. While we should not underestimate them, one suspects more deadly extraterrestrials will be encountered in due course. Okay, anyway. Research projects. So yeah, observe a secton for the damage bonus. Alright. And yeah, there it is. So, perform ballistic tests on corpses, which gives you a damage bonus of 10%. And we'll go ahead and make a couple of stun guns for right now. There we go. Alright. Yeah, we can do the analysis, and okay. Let's get to the next one. Alright, so stun guns are done, and as you can see, now that the stun guns are done, we start generating free money again. And yeah, there's the raid. So loss effects is an extra 10%, victory effects 20% Doomsday, and 0 to 200 operation points, so this is depending on how many USB sticks you get away with. Though clears have established a command post that they are using to expand their operations in the area. Destroying it will disrupt their activities and may allow us to capture valuable data about their organization there. Okay. So, I'm going to go ahead and launch for that one. Hopefully there's enough dudes for that. There we go, can get Denim back in there with a shield and knife. I'm surprised that guy survived this long. Got all the ones with all the grenade launchers and machine guns and everything else, but it's the guy with a frickin' knife and shield. That's made it. Okay. We'll continue leaving him as is because it's funny. Let's see. There we go, we'll give him a breaching charge and call it a fireball. His sister apparently got promoted above him, so we'll go ahead and do one of those. This guy's accuracy is pretty great. Pretty good on strength, too. Let's make you the HMG guy. Really kind of need one of those. Yep. That's decent enough. There we go. Smoke on him. One rifle guy. Your accuracy was insane. You're gonna just keep that thing, because honestly it's really good. Give you one of them. I don't make this guy the new Grenadier. Yeah, this one is like pure smash and grab. Like somebody that's very good with that. In fact, actually, I'll probably just grab a couple of those. Yep. Alright, that'll have to do. Let's make you a shield guy, I think. Alright. Do a thing to reduce tension also. And then, yeah, this will be our last one for today. So I would like to go proceed with a movie night. Alright, so the way that this one works is that there be computers, and you gotta go steal their USB sticks, because apparently everyone just has USB sticks laying around. So yeah. The idea is you just grab as many as you possibly can, and then run before you're overwhelmed. Which, I will say they actually managed to nail these timers pretty early on into all this stuff. So yeah, if you're not like really on it, there's really not as many opportunities in this one to sort of game the system like you can in, say, something like War of the Chosen or what have you. So yeah, whenever they say it's time to run, it is definitely time to run. Okay. Please hit him. Perfect. That's why we want an HMG guy. And so usually the way that I handle this one is just like line up along this wall, get as many kind of things out there as possible. Typically leaving 2 or 3 behind to just sort of cover everything, and then have everyone else spread out and do whatever they gotta do. Yeah, this is what the grenades and such were for. Got really long range, they can just blow through walls. A lot of good openings. Also, this music is fantastic. I think it's probably one of my favorite kind of combat type of themes in this one. Cool. Great way to start that. Nice. Okay. That's actually the other thing. I really appreciate how like satisfying the basic rifles are in this. They were already pretty good in Xeno 1, but they still have those moments where they just kind of started to feel dinky, especially on higher difficulties. But it's just cool to just kind of see the thing, you know, getting a chance to shine here. Because you have a lot of those moments, especially in stuff like XCOM or whatever. Like you're playing on Impossible, and it's like, okay, does the basic rando like little monkey alien really need to be able to take several bursts from a machine gun? You know, it's just a little much. They usually get it like close to right, but it's always just like a little bit off. Okay, one of them's down. I'm assuming that was this guy. So the desks, I don't know. Try to blow open as many doors as possible. We're just gonna run on in. Yeah, it's only 5 turns that this one lasts. Beautiful. Identified one more guy. Identified one more guy. Thought that guy died of his wounds, but okay, apparently that's not what happened. This one. Over there, we've got one more over here. Perfect. Okay. Guy there. Attempt to knife. Not really sure why this guy has such a huge chance to miss there, but okay. There we go. Gonna cover with a shield. You go that way. So hopefully it won't go poorly. Ooh, that was very close. You need to move up here. So far there's 1 out of 10. Let's say if we can even get 5, that'll be ideal. They have a, so they have a tendency to be clumped up, so like right here. That's already going to give us 2. That's going to give 1 more. There's probably going to be more over here. Oh yeah, we'll deal with that. So for the facility, this one's... I don't think it's the exact same one, but the layout tends to be similar. There. Here. You. I don't know, we'll decide what we do with you. I think you're just gonna take a small burst at this guy, see if you can hit him. Perfect. Yeah, this guy was a good choice for this HMG over here. Captain Frenchmaster over there. Over there, we'll test the rule on whether or not they can successfully block doors. Probably 0 chance of this hitting anywhere. Leave there, we'll go ahead and turn on Overwatch because I want to see if they actually can Overwatch with the grenade launcher. I've never seen it happen, but I want to. I mean, it's off by default, so I'm assuming you can, but I don't know. One more. Should not be risking this guy like this, but we can't see right here, so hopefully we'll see if they can path through there. Hopefully they can't. Here, take their USB sticks. See too much the door. Actually gonna move this guy back. So the launchers already did their job for the most part. Once everybody's getting chased out, that's when they're gonna be needed again. Computers. Right. He's just gonna run. There's no sense in wasting that. So if they get taken out while they're carrying all of those, that's progress that's lost. So they're gonna go ahead and get out of there. Like, it's just not worth the risk. I know it seems like it's like, oh, there's just like one They're just gonna trickle in reinforcements or something. Like, no, you get flooded. Right. Yeah, that is good enough. I usually like to leave a turn early. So there's something that's really free here, but yeah, no. Anything else just isn't worth the risk. Okay. Maybe steal this guy's gun just to be a dick, but aside from that... Watching... Go down. They've got maybe like 5-6 dudes on the other end of the map that are trickling in one by one. They're gonna go in, they're gonna defend their building and everything. Thankfully, the AI, like, it does do a decent job of acting appropriately for its situation. So, like, in this particular case, they'll sit there defending the building rather than necessarily trying to chase us out, because as far as it's concerned, it's got 2 turns until you're actually expected to be running. And so, if, you know, we can just kind of get out of there, then we don't have to worry about them doing their thing as much. Okay, I can go ahead and get out of here with all our USB sticks. 70% is good enough. You go here, you crouch, you're just going to be cover. Right, well, he sees that guy. Before manual fire comes in. Didn't quite get him, but there was a chance of suppression, so it was worth it. Yeah, I'm curious, of the people that are here, how many of y'all ever tried this thing yet? That's weird. There was a shot here earlier. Now, for some reason, there is no longer a shot. Weird. Oh well. Okay. Decent enough. Three of them running up. Shouldn't have any significant range or anything. Smoke out here just in case. One more here, and then as soon as this one's done, I think we'll be wrapping it up. 22, that's quite a bit. I think they actually upped this since the most recent builds there. So yeah, when they're talking about reinforcements and such, yeah, it's typically it's like anywhere from like 2 to 5 from each direction on the map. So you're potentially seeing, you know, anywhere from like 2 to 10 additional units with every turn. You're not really beating that in most situations. There, you there. Should be everyone out safely. Yeah, the way that they phrase that, I kind of wish it wouldn't say, like, just abandon it, because you're not really abandoning anything. You're already done there. There's not really any more you can do. Like, the phrasing says, would you like to abandon or would you like to continue, because you're technically leaving early. Like, no, this is... There's not really any technically there. You got 70% of everything that you were ever going to get, and no one died, so that's... that's pretty decent. Like, I think I've had one campaign on this thing where I got all 10, but it's just like a lot of it comes down to placement and how many of them are just going to run into stupid positions and what have you, because if they're located on the total other end of the map, you're not getting all 10. They can be anywhere in the building, so yeah. So 7 out of 10 ain't bad. I'd say probably, personally, the average has been closer to like 5 or 6. One wounded, a couple with some light injuries, but yeah. Alright, and that gives a good bit of points as soon as they get back. Alright, so we'll just read through these real quick and then we'll be done for now. So, our captured Secton is a curious creature in many regards. Although it has demonstrated a range of emotional states since being placed within the containment tube, it does not appear particularly interested in communication. This may be due to physiology rather than obstinacy, as Sectons have underdeveloped vocal cords, and I believe their intelligence may be primarily oriented towards spatial awareness and problem solving. If these creatures are indeed telepathic, one suspects our prisoner may not understand we are trying to communicate at all. Indeed, interviews with your soldiers suggest that the Scions become incredibly deadly opponents when encountered alongside Scions, something that would arise from the capability to telepathically exchange visual data. If so, this would hardly be a surprise to see their accuracy increase when around such creatures. By the way, those, that's kind of a weird note, because those probably won't be deployed for like another few months, but whatever. Testing revealed our captive is capable of quickly solving complex assembly puzzles, even when presented with presumably unfamiliar objects and mechanical components. I suspect it enjoys this. On one occasion, we observed the Secton dismantle a completed puzzle and immediately solve it again using a more efficient method. They're speedrunners! And my suspicion is that these creatures evolved as pack hunters, but have since found a role in extraterrestrial society performing complex manual work. I certainly consider them superior to our own engineers, given the speed and precision which they seem to work, and the blissful silence in which they do it. I wonder if this will be like various mods for XCOM, where you can just get them to join your team at some point. Okay, research things... do vehicles, I guess, because yeah, the Mars. Actually, okay, we'll do the research on that one, because that's probably the other thing I really want to kind of show off here today, as far as just neat things that this one did. Because yeah, so for this one they did vehicles very early, but they did the vehicles differently from Xeno 1 there. So in like Xeno 1, you had like a Humvee, a tank, and a hover tank kind of deal. And what they do in this one is that it's closer to like the XCOM Shiv type of situation, where it's just like a little drone guy, but it's more like a little moon rover thing. So hopefully they'll have that. Okay, we got our monthly funding. Nifty. Out of curiosity, what is the upkeep cost? No, it's like $500,000 per base. Yeah, I don't know why you'd want one early then. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, hopefully we'll have that in a second. Yeah, here. So the Mars Mechanical Armed Reconnaissance System is a remote-controlled armored vehicle small enough to be carried inside a dropship, faster, tougher, and better armed than any soldier. It would be a worthy addition to any of the teams. Vehicle is designed primarily for scouting work, compact and mobile. It can advance in front of your soldiers to sight enemies and draw out fire. Given its strong armor and relatively rugged construction, it is significantly more resilient than the average human. While it does encounter enemies, or when it does encounter enemies, the Mars usually has two methods of dealing with them. The more mundane is the auto rifle, a little more than a standard rifle with a magazine and a better recoil stabilization. The other option is a rocket pod. Although the Mars can only carry 6 rockets, each of these is tipped with a incendiary warhead that will demolish almost all terrain within its sizable blast radius. Although it deals only mediocre damage against enemy units, it is very effective at breaking their armor. Additional weapon variations are available should you wish to experiment further. Finally, note the Mars is heavy enough to be able to smash through walls and cover objects as if they were not there. This has obvious utility and an uncanny can make use of this vehicle to create paths for nearby soldiers. So yeah, basically they can Kool-Aid Man their way through walls, and this also gives you like little sentry turrets that you put in your base, but you get a bunch of those for free later. Where is it? Yeah, give like 2 of these. Unfortunately, they take a bit of a while to build, but yeah, they're one of the really cool things that this one did. Okay. Anyway. Would you like to sign a new research? Yes. Do the armor. But yeah, so the cool thing about it is that yeah, they're just like the vehicle in the original one, but they only take one tile to actually use. They have more options for customizability. And yeah, they can smash through stuff, which is pretty darn fun. I guess we're not going to be showing off this one because we immediately got another thing to do here, and I'm out of time for today. So, anyways, not the usual thing that we cover on this channel, obviously, but yeah, if you're interested, it's available for proper release at this point. It is finally at 1.0, so you know, give these guys a little bit of love there. They've been trying for a good long time. As far as this format of stuff goes, I would say it's definitely one of the most varied, and personally, I find this more fun than a lot of its competition. I'll be honest. Like, as much as let's say something like XCOM 2, which it's still weird to think how old that game is. Seriously, it's been nearly a decade since that. Has it been a decade since it came out? Probably something like that. Like I genuinely just find this more fun. It just feels like I don't know. It feels more. It feels less gamey, more simulation-y, I guess you could say, but without... I'm trying to think of the best way to put it, but without a lot of the more mundane stuff. Like, it keeps up the constant pace of something like X2 there. It has more of that gaminess and variation to it. But you don't feel the gaminess, if that makes sense. Like, the stuff that you're doing every time is going to be a bit different. The way that the phases change things up is very different. There's not as much, like, monotony there. And honestly, for that, in that regard, I'm still surprised that somehow, of all of the things in this particular genre, the UFO series managed to probably get more entries than almost anything else. And it's probably one of the worst offenders in that regard, but that's just a personal opinion. I don't know if anyone here has ever played that series, but it's basically just like make a death blob and charge forward the game for a huge chunk of it. Alright, anyways, before I get sucked into another one of these, let's just go ahead and call it a thing there. So y'all have yourselves a good one. Thank you for stopping by. Go give this thing a bit of a look when you have a shot. And yeah, maybe 96% chance, but there's still a decent chance it's going to miss. So, take care, have a good one, and I will see you in whatever the hell the next thing happens to be. Alright, take care.